I didn't see you there. Hi. I didn't know how to start this, so I guess that's what I'm going to go with, because it's kind of what we did when we were doing Doomsday Dawn a year ago. Welcome, my friends, to session this many, in case you can't read, of Age of Ashes. I'll always have to say that slow. I don't think if I say it, they're just going to trip over it forever and ever and ever and ever. The patrons have switched from Heralds of Dawn to this. We may come back to Heralds of Dawn. For now, though, we're going to take Chewie out for a spin and see how long it is before it gets super broken. So, of course, it's Tiki, Idaho, Josh, Jason, Ross, finally, and Spell. Thank you guys so much for your support on Patreon. Today is just going to be kind of like the simple session zero-y thing. We're going to do a little bit of like getting to the start, and this is also where we will introduce all of the characters that we have, and I guess we'll just start with how I'm seeing everyone in the Hangouts right now. I don't know how you'll see them in the art and the thumbnail. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So starting with Tiki. Tiki, what are you playing in this campaign? I know what you're playing. It's a thing.
In this campaign, I will be playing Anastasia Winter. She is a fey-touched gnome, Winter's child, alchemist bomber. I am actually from Irisen, and I'm out adventuring because, well, things are getting bored, and I am a gnome, and, well, the bleaching is a thing. But we'll see how this goes.
It's definitely, when we're setting this together, I did not think we would suddenly have the gnome with the... I'll let you guys meet the familiar on your own. It's a thing. Fair enough. And the next in line is the man who has drawn our sweet art, the ever fearless Wiffle Possum Productions.
Oh, hello. Bullock Broomsbane at your service. I am not a dragon, but I think my father was a dragon. Clanmate said I was hatched from an egg. It was quite a story they had. Anyway, I am a Bellflower agent, sorcerer, dragon-blooded, so that at least gives the story some merit. And I have a goblin song to go along with my revelry, but I haven't written it yet, so we will learn that soon.
Give us a few days, we'll get there. Fair enough.
I haven't done the art yet either, so I'm a little behind.
I don't know what that reminds me of, but it reminds me of something. Oh, my ha! Like random ha-has that ends up, whatever, it's fine. I'll remember it later in like 3 videos and like, oh, it's that. Fair enough. And the next in line we have the man. Oh, God, it is. Thank you. Thank you, Tiki. Well done. I'd give you an extra hero point, but they don't matter this session. Josh, what are you playing today?
I am playing Miriam Jazia. I am a dwarf craftswoman, very skilled also as a cleric. But specifically, she's a war priest. Bashes more than she heals. And turns out the things she bashes with are things she makes by her own 2 hands. She would say that she's had many lives to learn her craft, which is her way of saying that as a dwarf, she has a lot of knowledge of the history of her people and all of the lessons that their lives have taught her and the skills that they passed down. She says that she's lived many lives to learn what she knows. And so she is very eager to take on whatever challenges may come her way and protect those whom she is with that she would consider friends. And if there's times for hugs and a few beers, well, she won't mind that either.
Classic. Was there a deity in that? I may have missed it.
Oh, right. I didn't say it. She is a cleric of Torag.
Cleric of Torag.
The god of the dwarves. The god of the dwarves.
Seems to
praise the Lord and pass the warhammer.
Well, anyway, so while Josh is muting and letting my cat run free, we'll take it to the man who praises the Lord and passes the warhammer. Size doesn't matter, but hedge your bets, as we said in Wrath of the Righteous. The man of many campaigns, because that's what happens when you're in the bi-weekly game and then you decide, I'd like to support BDG a little more. That means Jason.
Okay, I will be playing Alm, who is a goblin, an unbreakable goblin, which basically means that, some goblins are really attracted to fire, some eat stuff that who knows how they survive. Me, on the other hand, I'm kind of, a sturdily built goblin.
Dummy.
I bounce well, so I'm unbreakable. So basically, for the racial hit points, I get the same starting hit points as a dwarf. So, lots of gristle.
That is indeed one of the things I was not expecting to see in 2nd edition at all, but I'll definitely take it.
Oh, and
Durable goblins.
And I only take half fall damage before any other shenanigans, so that's cool. But he is a rogue. His background is as an herbalist. And one thing that you're going to see about him is he knows he's smarter than the average bear, much less the average longshanks. So if you're a friend, you're fun to play with. If you're just a big stupid longshanks, well, you get what you deserve.
Okay, fair enough. There's taking a character that I thought was going to be really lighthearted and bringing it back to standard Jason fare, which again is not a bad thing. It's just like, Jason? Goblin? What? Does not compute. But goblins are really scary in 2nd edition.
Oh, there's still lots of lighthearted stuff that's going to go on. It's just, you got to be careful when deciding when it is and isn't lighthearted.
Yeah, fair enough. Makes sense. It's definitely the region we're starting in is a good place for goblins, and I want to say Paizo did that on purpose. That may be a little insight now that I think of it as to why we're beginning where we're beginning, because there's so many of them where we're going. Anyway, I feel like I need to say take the hero point. The hero point is kind of arbitrary-ish, and we'll pass it over to the man out of time. Find a way to be really good with shield bashes and shield throwing in 2nd edition and be from New Thassalon. And you have kind of what Ross is playing. You have like 20% of what Ross is playing, but Ross can tell you all about that, I think.
Are you mocking me already? Like, seriously, you said finally about me getting in here when I had done good to get my patronage back. Now you're kind of mocking my character ideas, and it's just like...
So over the course of our time, let's see, you've mocked me about my my career choices, most of my career choices. I think that's the only one I can really remember off the top of my head, except for like weird jokes in FFD20. But you know how it is. What are you playing? Who are you? What are you doing?
Hey, I haven't done any mocking of you today, so it's not fair to let your problems out on me. He's a bigger person.
Cap.
I know. Fine. Yeah. Okay. So, hello. I will be playing Charles Tycombe. He is from Thassalon. Technically from New Thassalon as it now stands, but he himself is an original Thessalonian individual. He was alive during the time of the Rune Lords and came back to reality after the time shift had occurred. Before the time shift had occurred, he was a bit of a scholar and was training himself to go out on a bit of a journey. And then a time skip happened, and now he's finding that the world has changed drastically since what he has since learned. As for what I actually do, I am a wizard. I have a few interesting ideas. I'm a little bit more of a battle mage. I have a few more martial spells and whatnot, and I actually am already able to wear armor. Thank you, humans, for all the general feats in the world at level 1. And, yeah. Oh, I also have a flying pet little baby white lion familiar. This is really cute. Its name is Little Leo.
I'm looking forward to targeting it in combat.
You bastard.
I know, right? I always feel so bad when I kill the pets. But I'll say that I hadn't really looked over my Lost Omens World Guide so much, and I had to go back and double check it when Ross told me he was playing someone from New Thassalon who'd been alive for a long time. I'm like, what? No, you can't do that. No. And after a lot of scrolling and a lot of reconciliation, that that Rise of the Rune Lords and Return of the Rune Lords spoilers, I'll say that's definitely not what I thought I would see alongside like the Romani and the Vikings and the and the actual Russians in that part of Golarion. And we will swing it now on to I can't even think of his name. I'm the worst ever. He crafts the spells, he plays the clerics, and I may have just spoiled what he's doing. Need a healer? We have a healer you can borrow, and his name is Spellcraft. Who are you? What are you? What are you doing?
The part of your usual cleric will be played by Kuyukduk. She is a Gurundi of mixed heritage, though by blood and by ancestry, that is the bulk of where she comes from. And she is a cleric of Serenai, and her focus at the moment is on the healing energies of her deity, but after a few bad experiences and too many people trying to harm those she cared about and cute fluffy animals, she has also started to study the mysteries and might of the fire domain. Given her deity, if you do things that upset her or harm those she care about, she shall either cut you and then burn you, or cut you, burn you, heal you, cut you again, burn you, and this time not cauterize the wound.
Yay, burn!
Please don't do that. And you'll get along with her just fine.
Fair enough. I'm not surprised to see, from like what we've talked back and forth, to see you play the healer the second time, which is not a bad thing. And with two clerics in the party, I'm kind of worried about how I'll ever damage you at all, if the playtest is any kind of like indicator for that. In any case, we will begin the game with a little bit of backstory for those of us who might not know Golarion as well as we could. You guys are, and I won't say the bulk of this adventure. Book 1 takes place in a region in what we are now calling Old Cheliax, known as Isgur. In Legacy Pathfinder, basically there has been nothing talked about. There might be like the odd PFS scenario that I'm unaware of, but it's one of those regions that's just like, it's here, it makes sense that it would be here, but we don't see it a whole heck of a lot. It is a vassal state of the nation of Cheliax, basically just a sad and forgotten backwater. The only real existence it's ever had that like mattered to anyone was its strategic position, sitting basically like smack in the middle of most of the rivers that run through southern Avestan. In more recent days, in the past 100 years or so, an event known as the Goblin Blood Wars happened, and that one's pretty self-explanatory. I think there were some goblins, there were some wars, blood happened, and it decimated the nation. It's only been, the present year is 4719. They ended in 4701, I believe. So it's been like a generation, not even, since the Goblin Blood Wars had ended. In more recent events, with the rise of Tar-Baphon in what we here at BDG are calling Paizo has stolen a Simple Jobs plot from us, and we're not salty about it. Jason might be. I can't speak for me on that one. But with the rise of Tar-Baphon and the fall of some of Northern Cheliax in a rebellion, Cheliax is looking to hold on to more of its resources, more of its assets and things, whether that be like the Andorans are going to sweep west in the name of freedom, or Tar-Baphon's undead are coming down and stuff. So Cheliax holds on a little more tightly, and amidst all that, the humans and goblins of that region have had to learn to work together, learn how to trade, learn how to prosper, because otherwise they're just going to get crushed in the middle. And I rolled a d6 for it. So the first player we're going to today, and if you guys don't have to necessarily do it. Oh, I'm seeing in the Discord how Idaho killed an improved familiar with Phantasmal Chiller. I'm sorry for that poor Sylvanchi, or whatever it was. Anyway, we will pan the camera over first to, and as I was trying to say, if I can get names in the Discord at some point, so I can not botch these. We will pan over to our dwarven priest of Torog. You and truly all 6 of you have come across the various regions that you have come across, heading towards a little town about perhaps 50 miles from the border with Druma in the foothills of the Five Kings Mountains, the little town of Breach Hill. Every month, Breach Hill puts out what they call the Call for Heroes. Basically, it's a time where Breach Hill's humble population can petition like the local council for problems they might have. Anything from my cat is stuck to a tree. That's the tree is a mimic and I've lost my cat. Please, someone help me. That's what I mean. Maybe like somewhere in between, like cat is stuck in the tree to a merchant has gone missing, things of that nature, things that are beyond the scope of the town guard to handle. And these calls, as they were, are answered by local third parties. It's a really good way to make money because the town officially funds it, and they will pay handsomely anybody who like lawfully works with the people and doesn't screw anybody over getting the job done and things. It's also pretty tropically the best way in this part of the world for like the adventure-y types to make a name for themselves, because nothing truly terrifying happens in this part of the world. The Goblin Blood Wars have been over for a while. Occasionally you get the shambling, unquiet dead that you need to deal with. Occasionally you get some of the more hostile goblin tribes or hostile human settlements as well. And Josh, you have come from your humble beginnings, newly minted priest of Torog, heading for this town. And I like to change my session zeros up every like new campaign. Not because I'm trying to perfect it, but because I'm trying to prevent my own bleaching, I suppose. I'm going to roll a d6. And the first thing, after a long day's travel, you reckon a night camping out in the woods, you'll reach Breach Hill in the early mornings. You see, of all the things to see, a little gnome. And I will turn it over to you two from there.
So I see this gnome. What condition is the gnome in, like, as far as physically? Like, is he tired? He or she tired? Energetic? Like, has it looked like they've been through the ringer, or are they just enjoying a pleasant walk? Like, what kind of condition?
Well, Tiki.
I'm basically making it to the town for the first time, so walking towards town. Still dressed in winter clothes from the trek from Irisan. Very pale hair pushed back past an ear, nose in her book. Actually actively messing with little vials.
Nose in her book, messing with vials. Okay. Well, I'm also heading to the town. I see that you're preoccupied. I was going to ask if you wanted some company. But I don't want to disturb your fine reading there. I know I appreciate a good book.
It's not a bother. Safety in numbers. But looking up and down, just like glancing to the weapon, and if it's visible, the holy symbol. Well, always nice to have a cleric on the path. I hear it's not too bad, dangerous out here, but that being said, who knows what might be out here?
Well, it's certainly no handsome man, huh? More like hungry wolves. if any of them, if any one of them decide they want to take a bite out of Gnome, I'll do my best to fend them off for you, so you can finish the rip-roaring page turner you have in your hands.
It's not that type of book.
Bunch of math equations.
Math, bit of formula, ingredients lists.
So you make potions.
Well, I can make potions. More like elixirs, but it's more things that go boom.
And not to make the heart flutter kind, huh? I would say if you made love potions, man, you'd get rich quick.
If I had any sort of interest in that, maybe.
Well, don't stay lonely forever, my dear. Anyway, I'm going to continue walking.
I never stopped.
I'll walk. Oh, okay.
Walking, that is.
Oh, well, I'm going to stay ahead of her a little bit, just since I'm kind of the bodyguard now of sorts.
Well, seeing as I now have a companion, I would put the book away. Trust people, so making sure that I am not called unawares by a so-called friendly face.
Well, don't worry, I'm walking ahead of you, so unless I can like reverse spin hit you or something, you should be fine.
And as you two are walking, the D6 has said 2. So I will let Bolix introduce Bolix's self. 2 people walking along the road, and then suddenly, basically.
A goblin falls out of a tree. What?
Well, aren't you small and precious? Do you need a heal, buddy?
It almost worked. I can try again. Hold on. Gets a running start and tries to flap his arms really hard. No. Maybe I need to be higher this time.
You need wings.
He's flapping his arms, and he has his cape spread out. And he's making whooshing sounds. Who are you?
Travelers.
I am quite entertained. Do you, she's actively laughing. She's like, "You're very funny. I think I like you. Why don't you hang out with us? We're heading to town."
Bollocks is heading to town too. What are you heading to town for?
Change of scenery.
I could use a drink and someone to warm my bed.
Bollocks is going to be big goblin hero. Already little goblin hero, but soon to be big goblin hero someday.
About that time, a little stuffed animal made of patchwork peeks its head up out of my bag. It has very sharp teeth, glowing red eyes, and it clicks its teeth at people as it glances around. Oh, get back in there. She tries to stuff the stuffed animal back into her bag.
What was that?
Don't mind him. It was a gift from family down the line. No, get back in there. She's actively fighting with the familiar, and it climbs up her arm and is now hanging off of the back of her armor. Angrily chittering and clicking its teeth.
Maybe she's just hungry.
It looked like rabbit.
It is a stuffed animal. It does not eat.
Well, because it's stuffed. If it was, I guess, if it was hungry, it wouldn't be a stuffed animal. It'd be a hungry animal.
Pinches the bridge of her nose and starts walking faster.
Can I groan at the joke even though I'm not there?
I guess, on that note, the sound of a wagon wheel groaning as you continue walking on, and again, hope suddenly there's as we introduce Jason.
You would see coming down the path, comes onto the line of travel y'all are on, a goblin, maybe a little taller than most. He's about 3'4", tall for a goblin, pulling a hand cart behind him. And upon seeing y'all, he will stop so you can go by.
As I am the first one walking by, glance down at the cart and up towards the goblin because he's about 4 inches taller than me. Well then, are you heading to town as well?
Yes, lady, I am.
Well, it seems we're making a caravan. Come on.
Miriam will echo the same sentiment in Goblin to both the goblins and say, yes, we're becoming quite the traveling companions today. Let's all head to town. I said she says that in Goblin to the goblins.
I would fly you there if I could, but I haven't quite gotten it down yet.
Well, Goblin friend, I happen to craft and enchant things. Perhaps we can solve that problem together.
You are attempting to fly?
I know that there's a trick to it. I've seen it done before.
Yes, the trick is wings.
Wings. I never thought of that. I'll have to work on that.
If things don't work well, I do provide healing services. I am well skilled in the treatment of injuries.
No loss of people around here that can heal.
I can heal a little bit, but it's not my specialty. I build things better than I fix them.
Lots of builders too.
I burn things and melt them mostly.
Can I tell what base type of goblin he is?
You probably notice, I would imagine, that you're at least a head taller than he is. As far as, like, what type of, are you? I guess that one would fall to the man who is both playing and drawing Bullocks. Is there any telltale bits of your class or what flows within your veins, like, overtly on your character?
I have a very dark hide, but you can tell that it's been burned more than once. So you can tell I'm a char hide.
Yeah.
Extra resistance to fire and, as it stands, acid as well.
Well, I figured that char hide would it. So, well.
As far as clan goes, I don't have any clan markings on me, but I do have a little lapel pin that is a purple flower. that does not resemble any tribes that you know, at least in the Goblin community.
Time of day?
Late afternoon. The sun will be down in perhaps an hour. You guys all think that you'll reach Breach Hill. You'll need to sleep out in the wild one more night, and then you'll get there early next morning.
Well, I guess that would be time to actually set up camp then. Don't want to have to go looking for firewood in the dark of it. Start moving off towards the side of the road to do just that.
Okay.
That does sound like a good idea.
Glancing confused to the goblin. Really? I thought your kind were a little more able in the nighttime.
We do what we can, but setting up camp now is perhaps the wiser choice. While I would have no problem the rest of the way in the dark, there is something to be said for the protection of a larger group.
Wow.
Bollocks would not mind the company. And have been walking for quite some time. Could use a rest.
You can share space with me by the campfire if you would like. I come from a group of dwarves that is very much trying to make friends with goblin kind and atone for us not being so kind to your friendly group of in the past. So I would welcome to hear your stories and your adventures so far.
Not sure that's a dwarf.
And not all of my kind were very civilized.
I'd start picking up brush and deadfall if I find any to collect to start a fire.
Sure.
If I do find some, I'd use my produce flame cantrip to light it.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Between the four of you, there's enough that you can, like, with your own equipment and things laying around, you can set up a pretty simple camp. And I guess I'm just rolling evens odds at this point. It's evens, so then... I hadn't picked who evens or odds were. Evens is Ross, odds is spellcraft, and now I've rolled a 1. Okay, so you guys get the camp set. It takes a little while down the road. Depending on how far you guys want to be, like, off the beaten track will determine who sees who first.
At least 20 feet.
Okay. I guess I should...
Kuyuktuk is very confused by things, and as she had finished hunting and skinning some wild game a little bit ago, and cleansing herself via prestidigitation, now that she has had a somewhat filling meal of wild game, she heads over to investigate because, well, it sounds like this could be amusing, and it's been a bit of a long day. She pushes through the brush, and in greeting she simply says, "How," which is a word in her family's old tongue that means "I am here." She is a dark-skinned young woman with black hair and green eyes, and she is currently wearing some of the sturdier priestly robes. Her holy symbol of Serenade is copper-colored and is worn as a pendant around her neck. At her side is belted a scimitar.
And this appears in your camp.
I thought I was alone around here.
While this is going on, I'll be using my forage and herbalism skills to pick up any reasonably good wild edibles close by.
Fair enough. Yeah, you can, without having to shoehorn it too much, there are enough, like, wild berries and, like, wild, various kinds of, like, roots and veggies and things you can dig up. Enough to feed everybody.
I'm having a whispered, heated argument with my familiar, and it is attempting to bite me.
What was your familiar again?
It is a patchwork rabbit with very sharp teeth and glowing red button eyes.
It's adorable. It's exactly what you would expect to come from the land of Baba Yaga.
That is a most interesting rabbit. I can't quite tell from here. Is it a toy?
It was a gift, and you shall not come near it, or it will bite you.
Rabbits do tend to do that, no matter where you're from.
And kick.
This one starts cussing in fluid Russian, and I don't know if anyone actually knows that language around here, but would actually start trying to come at the dark-skinned woman, and I would have to grab it by the back of the neck.
I don't know what you're saying, but it can't be nice. You're lucky you're not a living rabbit, or I'd consider making you stew.
I really don't suggest that. The family member that sent him to me would not approve.
After a moment, she invokes Detect Magic, and I can't remember if there's any sort of tell for that.
I am gonna double check that myself here. Oh, I'm doing a scroll. Familiar is a first level class feat for the alchemist. It is an alchemical familiar. So no, since alchemy has been codified as something else.
I did not get this one as an alchemist familiar. I got this one as a gnome familiar, but it was constructed that way.
So then, yeah, no, it doesn't ping.
Huh.
Maybe like it pings not in your magic, but in your your train of thought. Like, that's more than what I think it is. That is much smarter than what I think it is.
Well, I mean, that part was pretty obvious. It can speak.
Mm-hmm.
Just out of character for a little bit. The Wild Child background says that I have a connection to Baba Yaga. My familiar was given to me by Baba Yaga.
And I'm sure that won't have terrifying repercussions later in the campaign. Nope.
Yes,
not at
distantly.
Of course not. And at this point, walks back into camp with a good armful of wild edibles, sees you grabbing it by the back of its neck, has obviously heard some of the conversation, and says, I would think that would look more like a cat.
Cat dolls are not traditional where I'm from.
Understood, but it acts like a cat.
No, it acts like a little wild beast.
Well,
I don't know what it's saying.
Personally, I believe it would be more at home if it had wings and a stinger.
Indeed. Well, as long as it understands that polite neighbors are good neighbors. And it's not the only thing here with sharp teeth. And I grin.
And the goblin chompers just out into the camp.
I think it just doesn't like the cleric.
And then last but not least, since you guys are you guys are being loud. There's a lot of talking, so new guy would be able to hear it as well. And you guys, actually, I'll let new guy have the ability to get the drop on you guys as you're all talking about this bunny thing. I'm sorry, I'm just really bad with new character names. Ross, you heading down the road in the direction of Breach Hill.
I mean, mine is just Charles. It's pretty simple.
Fair enough. Okay.
No, get out of my head, Charles.
They'll just be like walking along on a staff, just like, And I imagine I just hear something about gnashing teeth or showing line, and just kind of like pausing and like, Leo, you hear that? Okay. You mind checking it out? And I'm gonna hold my arm out, and the little like winged white lion on my shoulder is gonna jump off and start flying up. I'm just gonna like, eventually you guys will just kind of like, he'll fly over, and I guess fly over the campsite. And then just return back to me. I don't know. I mean, if people want to try and see it, he's not going to be exactly stealthy.
So then...
He's a white lion against a blue sky?
Yeah,
flying nonetheless, with like kind of blue markings on him.
And his wings probably aren't quiet.
I mean, it seems like a baby lion's club that's white with wings and has blue markings on it, and like its mane's kind of a light blue.
What look still would it be for that particular creature? That's Gothian, right?
I think that's what they call classically a homebrew creature. I think. It's the way familiars work in 2nd edition. I think how we codify that is this is a lion cub that Charles is using as a familiar and has given wings during daily prep.
Well, I mean, his thesis is improved familiar attunement, so I do actually have explanations as to why Leo looks like Leo.
Oh, please, by all means.
I mean, I'll explain that in character when we get to it.
Okay.
I imagine they'll probably ask me here in a moment. So, like, you guys will probably just see it, and it'll just kind of like flap overhand, just kind of like floating there for a moment before flying back.
That's new.
And then eventually there'll be like a, hello? It's like just this kind of plain looking human wearing like a cloak and actually wearing some armor and whatnot, just kind of like comes walking through the woods as the creature from before is perched on his left shoulder. Hello? Oh, hello. Thought I heard voices over here. This is a bit of a motley group.
I wouldn't know. I just got here.
Well, it looks like you're not the only one that just got here. What all's going on around here? Y'all heading to that, God, the names of these places escape me. The town over the way, the one with the no, that's in character. I know what it is out of character.
Oh, well, look at Roscoe, he figured it out. He learned how to remember names. I'm so proud of you, buddy.
I remembered how to better take notes. Thank you very much.
That is a skill in almost 30 years I have not even tried to learn.
I know.
Well done.
The town with the heroes thing.
Yes, we are heading that way. It's just best not to travel at night.
I mean, that's a fair statement to be made. My apologies, I did not mean to intrude.
No, not intrude. I believe we have all just met within the last half hour anyway.
Well, very well on that one. Well, on the notion of it's not safe to travel at night, mind if another, I guess, wayward soul joins this little camp going on here? I was with the caravan, but they stopped at a last city over, and I heard about this heroes thing, and I was like,
Did you bring food?
I reach into a package and pull out a loaf of bread.
Did you bring butter?
I look down at it, like crack it open, wave my hands a bit, and like a few arcane sigils go over it. There, now it tastes like it has butter on it.
I was just going to eat the butter.
Oh.
But thank you.
I'll toss him a bit of the bread that I make butter flavored with prestidigitation.
Isn't that a wonderful cantrip?
Nom 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 nom.
It tastes like it's been toasted with butter on it. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's a very nice little neat trick. It was one of the first ones I learned because it makes rations far more bearable when you're traveling.
Well, could you make something taste like brimstone?
Britt,
I
look
can.
over.
As
Look
I
over
cast,
concern.
I cast produce flame on it and blow it onto the bread. Very nice.
Oh,
Well,
There you go.
then I'd take the charred bread and hand it to my familiar, which starts scarfing it down.
that's an interesting thing.
It likes burned
Got a familiar.
things.
Nah, I like bird things too.
Yes.
You aren't going to swear at me in unfamiliar languages, are you?
Me?
It's what the rabbit did.
Oh, that's not very polite.
No, it is a bit rude, but I can't really complain. It was a gift.
Understandable. I just have an issue with being treated poorly by food.
If you don't
It's
mind.
not a food, it is a toy. Please, do not anger it. It will bite you in your sleep. I have had to heal people from their injuries too many times. I know you can heal yourself, but it's...
Well, even if it were a real rabbit and not a plush rabbit, the fact that it's a gift and is possibly your familiar or at least a long-time traveling companion, I certainly wouldn't harm it, but you have to admit it was not a very good first impression.
Well, if it comes from the family member I've been told it does, well, Baba never really gives good things.
Ah, yes, we all have relatives like that.
I must simply know more about your familiar sometime. If you would give me the chance, I'd love to do a bit of research into it. Familiars are actually a subject matter that I study. Quite in depth.
I won't stop you, but I don't suggest it. Or if you do, at least have gloves.
Oh. Oh, yes, those things are easily doable enough.
At this, Vicky sidles over and whispers to him, I can't detect any magic from it. I really don't know what you'll learn from it.
This is about the time that I reach to the pocket on the side of, or reach to the rabbit and unzip a pocket on the side of it, reach inside all the way up to the elbow and pull out a set of magical reagents, and then zip it back up and start prepping.
One of my little cousins had a backpack like that, but it couldn't move around and talk. It wasn't a bag of holding either. You have some neat presents, even if she is one of those relatives.
It's not a bag of holding. I believe it to be a portal to the Fae, or the First World, rather. But just big enough for this. And she holds up some not invested, but infused reagents.
Wait, so it's only a one-way opening?
Maybe something could grab hold of my hand at some point. I don't know, but I've only ever had things come out. Try putting things in, and, well, I nearly lost a finger when I was a child.
That's still pretty cool.
That's very concerning. Especially if it is
Oh, yes,
actually a
that too,
portal
but-
to the Feywilds.
First World, not exactly sure. The Feywilds are the same thing.
Forgive me. My understanding of the my understanding of your tongue. Forgive me. Your tongue has changed significantly since I've come this way.
It is a side effect of knowing too many languages at such an early age. Things kind of shift and accents don't really stay the same.
Especially over a few thousand years.
Years?
You do look very
Yes.
good for someone of your age.
Well, that's because I myself am only 20. I don't presume any of you happen to have heard of the events that occurred at Thessalon, or the Rune Lords, or things of that nature?
Longshanks, not always interested in those areas.
Would that be a society check?
Yeah, society checks would be a thing.
How about a 15?
Okay.
Is that something that could be done untrained or no?
Yeah, you could.
For me, it's trained.
Right. But yeah, Tikisri could try and train. Or Tikisri, wrong character. So many different characters. Okay, so being from Irison, Anastasia would know.
And just call her Winter. That's what she goes by.
Got it. So Winter would know that it was not that long ago, in the past year, that the latent magical empires that once ruled northwestern Avestan had emerged. Lots of big magical battles. Some of them turned out not to be as horrendous as some of the others that had woken up in the past. And basically the idea is they have refounded their empire, now calling it New Thassalon. The idea being a home for the lost, a home for the wayward. But you don't have anywhere you fit in, nowhere to belong, come here. Some of them are very, very, very powerful arcane spellcasters. Some of them are just people out of time. With the 15, something very magical happened in the northeast. I did it again. In the northwest of Avestan about a year ago, and new people have been showing up after it.
I'm guessing a 15 wouldn't be enough to get even that much, or a 14 wouldn't be enough to get that much.
You probably land about where Jason did.
Oh, you mean in that massive thing that went on last year?
No, that was for Anastasia.
Yeah, I had gotten an untrained 23, so.
Which there's kind of a modifier-ish from being from the same meta region.
Okay, and what did Ross's character know?
Ross's character, well, he knows all the things because he's from there.
Wait, so what happened?
Jason's character knows about the fact that there was some sort of magical hoo-ha in the Northwest, and now a bunch of people were showing up. And that's about what you know, if I'm correct, Tommy?
Yeah, you got it, Ross.
Tiki's character knows more about it because Tiki's character's region that she grew up in was significantly closer to the Saga lands, therefore she heard about it more directly. My character knows all about it because he was in the middle of all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd break down exactly what I'd know, and very quickly.
Huh. It's not very often I actually find people that do know what happened. Normally I have to go on a very long-winded explanation. That's normally, not going to lie, quite awkward.
So magical strangeness happened.
Yep. I mean, isn't that kind of what always seems to happen in this world? Just a series of strange magical events have suddenly occurred, and the next thing you know, boom, something's happened. It's all kind of perspective, really, I guess you could say.
Are you downing my profession?
What?
He said sometimes it's alchemy. I asked if he was downing my profession.
I did say alchemy?
To be fair, sometimes
I don't know about him, but as far as I'm concerned, it depends on what kind of potions you're selling.
I don't do potions. I do explosions.
Well, my apologies. I meant to say magic, or nothing of the sort about alchemy. That must be a mistake on my part.
It was the cleric that said something about alchemy, not you.
Oh, Oh, okay.
I have plenty of respect
done
for
something
alchemy.
again.
It does wonderful things. But sometimes it can contribute to the strangest just as much as magic does. That's all I meant, and I thought that's all I said.
Well, that being said, I have found enough to share if anyone wishes to. And yes, do not worry about some of the culinary particularities of my kin. I believe this would be suitable for everyone.
Well then, I'd pull out my rations and share some of the preserved meat. Seeing as I'm coming from a frozen area, I figure mine is mostly preserved protein.
Seems likely, yeah.
Ooh, that sounds wonderful. Thank you. And she shares hardtack and gathered nuts and berries because I just realized that I hadn't rolled for surviving. What? Huh.
Okay. So then, if you guys all could, and I know I said we were gonna do some theater of the mind stuff, but can't help myself. If you guys could all make a perception check for me.
Okay.
That's a good check.
That one. Good way to start.
Yeah. Welcome to Pathfinder, Bollocks.
Hey, that's a decent outcome as well for me.
Okay, I am scared.
A nat 20 plus 3.
Okay.
18 on the die and 6 on the mod, so 24.
Same.
I rolled good.
You did.
I'm afraid.
Yeah, this is very not you.
I'm very afraid.
I did roll a 16 myself.
Got it. And
In real life, I'm now expecting an airliner to come, to drop an engine and it come crashing through my window or something.
yeah.
Something to even out the good roll.
Josh, do you have dice? Josh, are you in the call? Don't make me come over in the next room. I'll do it.
Yeah, I just sent a message saying that I rolled it in roll 20. I got a 4 on the dice plus my 6 mod for 10.
Ah, got you. Cool. So we have a 10. So as you guys do your talking and start to have your food and things, fun fact, that perception was for initiative.
Wait, what?
You hear them before you see them. And that's also, while we were role-playing, I rolled their initiatives as well, because they make a lot of noise. The sounds of the unquiet dead moving towards your camp. In total, it appears to be that there are 6 of them, 1 for each of you. A couple of them are... they range in size from small to medium humanoid zombies shambling in the direction of the light and the sound of people talking. And... they are 30 feet away from you. This encounter will be entirely theater of the mind. I don't care. I want to play Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Jason is first. If anyone is not ready for a combat, we will pretend this did not happen.
Go ahead.
Oh, goody. I really don't know that much about the undead. Would either nature or medicine give me an idea of what might hurt them, or is this just terra incognita?
Both are fine. Whichever one you'd like to roll. Actually, whichever one you'd like me to roll, because I had to catch myself on that. It's going to be... I think Tommy might think this is kind of a pain as we're playing, but all of the checks to recall knowledge in Pathfinder 2nd Edition are secret checks. So if you will tell me your mod and which skill you would like to roll, I will roll it for you.
Well, they're both the same, so I'll go with nature at a +4.
Alrighty, this takes 1 action, and you have that number. And the DC to get this guy is not much. Okay, yeah. So Isger has a lot of, like, in the aftermath of the Goblin Blood Wars and the rise of Tarbathon, some say Tarbathon himself has caused the undead to, like, lurch southward. Others say that, well, there's a lot of dead bodies lying around. You know that they don't really like positive energy, but negative energy will heal them. These, fortunately, seem to be the slower varieties. They are moving towards you, but they're kind of just like, some of them are dragging legs with bones showing, some don't have feet.
So, standard movie zombie.
Yeah, pretty much. Their flesh is pretty, like, it's very rotten, very meat falling right off the bone kind of thing, in such a way that, like, in a meta sense, they do have weakness to slashing 5. So I imagine it's an action to draw each dog slicer.
Okay. I figure that and the call will pretty much end my turn, and I'll end up by the cart, so I get a little bit of try to make it so they have to come around it a little bit to get to me.
Okay. So again, there are no move actions left. Recall, acknowledge was 1, and then draw a weapon is 1, draw a weapon is 1, for a total of 3. Yeah. So the next is Q-Tech.
Okay. I have the healing touch feat, so the zombies that are within 30 feet, because I'm spending all 3 actions, are going to be getting a basic fortitude save, and my wisdom is +3. So my save DC, I think, is what, 15? It's 10 plus trained plus...
Yep, you got it right. Okay. Cleric waves her arms and fire bursts out in a, like, radius out, not harming you guys, not harming the trees, but the zombies, some of them actively catch on divine fire. They continue shambling towards you guys, and Anastasia's next.
Actually, if any of us were damaged, any living creatures within range would be healed by that much, too.
I do forget the channel energy goes or it's not channel energy, but it's channel energy goes both ways now. You don't have to pick. I do like that. And it passes to Winter.
How far away?
They are 30 feet away from you.
Oh, well then. Let's see. Just let me check to make sure I have the range on it. Alchemist. Alright, I would have to move up 10 feet, and then I'm going to grab 2 Alchemist Fires and throw them at 2 of the least damaged of the zombies.
Okay, sounds good.
So 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 4 plus 7, that's 11 for the first one, and 11, 16 for the second one.
Okay, fair enough. The 11 misses, the 16 hits.
All right. I'm pretty sure you'll have to roll mischance for the loose grenade now.
Yeah, that is a thing. Okay, so quick roll of dice, it lands behind him.
Okay, and it is a D8 plus 2. No, it's a D8 plus 1, and then any other creatures in these adjacent squares to it would also take 1 persistent fire damage.
Okay, fair enough.
D8. So that would be an 8. So 9 damage to the one it hits, and then 1 damage to everything else around it.
Gotcha. So lots of persistent fire damage happens. And you said, how much was it? 8?
9.
9. Okay, fair enough.
I rolled an 8, so.
So that one's not looking. The one that is now on fire as the flask connects with its chest, as most of it has fallen away on the ground, but it continues shambling on forward as all of them are close enough to all take 1 persistent fire damage. And I think it goes to me next. Do I get to go? Do I get to attack people with Zambos? So excited. I do. The closest target I have is...
What's their initiative?
I'm sorry. Correction. It's only the one that I hit that gets persistent. The rest is just 1 splash damage.
Gotcha. Duly noted. And actually, as Ross brings that up, they all rolled really well, but the 16 beats my 15. So Charles, in fact, is next.
Okay, I was about to say, I was like, huh. Well then, I'm just going to... How many are there left now? Since this is the year of mine.
All 6 of them still remain standing.
Let me double check something right quick. I wish I had a physical book in my hand. This. Hold on.
Well, if you'd like me to check for you, I do have it open.
I almost have it. I just need to wait for the page to load up on me. I'm so sorry. I wasn't expecting... I know what spells I have. I just wasn't expecting combat this soon.
It's all good. Do you know the name of the spell?
Oh, yeah, and I have it here.
Okay, cool.
Then what is it?
So I'm just gonna kind of like look at these creatures as they shamble up and just kind of like, I'm going to spend 1 action to command little Leo. I'm gonna look over to him on the shoulder and say, you might want to back up, buddy. And he's just gonna fly up into the air and just kind of like keep watch over the area. But he does not. I don't want him in the fight, so that's me like saying, get out of here.
Okay.
And then how far away are they from me?
30 feet.
30? Alright. I'll look to the rest of them and I'll say, I'll hold him. Or, that's an action. No, I don't say that because that's an action. I'm going to spend my second action. I'm going to move 25 feet forward to close the gap between them.
Okay.
And me. And as my third action, I'm going to just mutter in Thessalonian, shield. You know, pretty intense. And in front of me forms a slightly green aura of a shield. Kind of just arcane shield formed in front of me. And I cast the shield cantrip.
Okay, fair enough.
That gives me a +1 item bonus to my AC, bringing it up to 19.
Sounds good. And these 2 guys go next. They're cooking 2 zombies. We're going to go after Winters, but now there's someone much closer. They step forward, and each one is going to try to reach out and grab you. The first one attacks, and my first... I'll show the internet. I can't...
It's a natural 20.
My first roll of the campaign is a natural 20.
Oh, okay then.
I'm sorry, Ross. Oh, actually, on that note, something we need to discuss. I forgot. I was going to bring this up before we began, but as of Pathfinder 2nd Edition, the playtest rule of double dice, double mod is now... That's the optional one. The standard is supposed to be roll once, double everything. Would you guys rather we roll 1 billion dice? Or would you rather go that way?
I'm not gonna lie. I think it's fun to roll double the dice, so I'd be happy to go with double the dice. I understand that leaves more air to randomness of just being, oh god, that wasn't so bad. I kind of like it.
I'm good either way.
We must have 2 blue-skinned aliens and 1 billion dice.
We must have 1 billion dice! Okay, fair enough. We'll double the dice. So I have a 6.
Alright.
And I just rolled max. So sorry. So 12, 18 points of bludgeoning damage. The zombie runs up and tries to smack at you and does so really well. Is there any reactions?
To him hitting me?
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, so then 18 points of damage and this thing grabs onto you.
Oh, I'm down.
I just want to ask if you wanted to use your reaction to block with your cantrip.
Foobar. Yep, I will. That makes it go away. That makes my AC 18. And no. Oh, God, I'm only at 2 HP.
But still standing. And that's what the elementals felt like. No, I'm kidding. I just happened to roll max real early.
No. That
real
was
fast.
one roll. I had to keep going at you guys with the elementals.
That's true. That did happen. That was a thing. So you guys see the newcomer step forward and a line of energy pops in front of him, and then the zombie kind of like falls into it and breaks it and grabs onto him. And the second one is going to try to do the same. And I roll much, much, much worse. I can't fumble unless you have some effect that says I would fumble, but I have a 10 all told to hit you for the second one.
Yeah, no. That's 2 above fumbling me.
Yeah, fair enough. Alrighty, then next up is... Oh, I see MYR. I shouldn't have wrote that because I'm looking over at my sheet. I'm like, Mirden, you're up. Good job, buddy. No, it's Miriam is next.
Okay, so is there any zombos that are within 30 feet of me?
Yes.
All of them?
Every last one.
All of them? Okay, can I tell with a quick perception check which one looks hurt the most?
Yeah, you don't even really need to make the perception check to like seek to figure this out. There's one that had napalm hit it in the chest and it's not happy.
Well, now I would like to have Divine Light hit it in the chest. So I am going to cast Divine Lance on it, and I will choose Lawful as my alignment of choice.
Okay.
And so basically, I'm going to throw a ranged spell attack roll against its AC. Takes 1d4 plus 3 damage, double damage on a crit, and it gains, and the spell has the lawful trait.
Okay, fair enough. Make it so. As someone who likes his magic spells to turn into weapons that hit people, I can get behind something called Divine Lance. Alrighty, so I'm not seeing your dice rolls on Roll20. Just shout them out for us.
So it's an 11 to hit.
An 11 would miss.
Okay, it misses.
And that was 2 actions, I am guessing? Yeah, 2 actions.
Yeah, it was a 2-action cast. So I still have an action to move.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sure. I will move. I will move within melee range. I will get basically as close to one as I can without giving them an attack of opportunity.
Okay, understood. So then it passes to, I have at initiative 10, 8, 7, and 6. I'm taking up some persistent burning damage. These guys do not know how to stop that at all, and they just shamble forward. All of them will stride to within 5 feet of Miriam and try to strike once. And then for the first attack, I have a 15 to hit Miriam.
That's not good enough.
And then I have a... I'm not used to reading these bestiary entries. 19 to hit Miriam.
That's a tie.
So I hit, and then 23 to hit Miriam, and 14 to hit Miriam. So 2 of these guys hit for 6, 7, 8, 9, for 12 points of bludgeoning damage, and both of them grab onto you as the other 2 kind of just flail about. As it passes to Bolix.
Bolix is going to... Sorry, did you say we're on Roll20?
No, we're not. He's using Roll20 for his dice.
Okay, I was confused for a second. I was like,
well, I mean,
I don't see anybody in there.
Well, I mean, Idaho was like in there too, so somebody was there to validate my roll.
I don't think you're cheating.
Anyway, I am going to, I guess they're all like piling on my teammate. But I am going to fire off a spell. They are 30 feet away, so I will, less than 30 feet since they move forward. But Acid Splash, and it's an attack roll. 11 plus 7, so 18.
18
hit the one in the middle.
You got it.
And it is 5 points of acid damage and 1 splash to everybody around it. unfortunately, it might hit him too. But that's 1 point of acid.
Okay, so then if acid splash actually splashes now, that's kind of adorable. I like that. That's good. That is very flavorful. Acid splash does splash.
That was 2 actions. With my third action, I am going to run up to them, get into melee.
All right, fair enough. So you run up, hitting the one in the middle. Everybody's close enough together that Miriam and Charles both would take a point of splashed damage. But if you would like to flavor that the first kill of the game.
Well, I create a ball of acid and put it to my mouth like I'm blowing a kiss or just using a breath weapon because I like to pretend I'm a dragon. And the ball of acid splashes on the zombie that is grabbing my friend, and it melts to the ground.
And Charles, it stings a little as the acid gets in like your face and it burns, but the zombie just melts away into nothing.
Then I scream, running forward at it like a goblin.
Ah! All right, fair enough. Passes to Jason.
Yeah, I don't do the scream like the stereotypical idiot goblin.
Hey. I resemble that, Mark.
Them fighting words.
And PvP, an hour into the first session. Well done.
Okay, just to double check the action economy.
Sure.
I am going to move to striking range.
Okay.
And I'm going to use a 2-action attack. That is called, let me pull this up. There we go.
Strange way you've named your attacks, man. Let me pull this up. That's a very strange attack name.
I'm guessing Twin Feint.
You guessed it, Twin Feint, which reads, you make a dazzling series of attacks with both weapons, using the first attack to throw your foe off guard against a second attack coming in from a different angle. You make the attack with 2 melee weapons against the same target. The target is automatically flat-footed against the second attack.
Okay.
And multiple attack applies once. So the beautiful thing is, even if the first one doesn't hit, the second one is likely to.
Yeah.
So first one is there's my luck again. 10.
10 misses.
With the mod. Okay. And how about a 19 with the mod?
That hits. And that's the one he's flat-footed too.
Yes.
Ooh, I like that. That's really good.
Okay. It does 1d6 plus 4 because I'm dex based. And I'll also have to, okay, so that's 5 on the dice, so 9 points of damage slashing.
Okay.
And I need to, it has the backstabber trait, so I know it does an additional point. I don't know if it's persistent bleed damage.
It's not. It's just 1 more on top of it. And then you have sneak attack as well.
Oh. I got a whopping 1 off of that. So we're talking 9, 10, 11.
So 11. I have weakness 5 to slashing. So you walk up and casually do 16 points of slashing damage. And if you'd like to flavor that kill.
As I scutter around the outside, move behind one, I put the dog slicer, I kind of slice for its foot, but that doesn't work, so I just basically end up grabbing its foot, pulling it out from under you, under it, it falls face down, and I come through the skull from behind.
And it splatters.
It's rather dead.
It has gone to its true afterlife as it collapses in a heap on the ground. And that was 3 actions from you. It passes to Cute Talk.
Yep.
If that's too easy, or if that's too hard, you can also call her Vicky or Vixen.
I'll get there.
All right. Then once again, she is using one of her bonus spells to cast the 3-action version of heal. So everything within 30 feet gets 3d10 of positive energy, and I am going to put my dice roller up to the task. Hopefully I will roll well.
All 4 of the zombies have failed.
How are you already rolling 3d10? Oh, wait, because they're undead, right, duh.
No, it's because I have a healing feat. And it doesn't say...
I would have thought you only had 1d8 if you're casting all this at first level.
No, if you're...
He has something that does 2 extra die against undead.
No.
Oh, wait, I misread the spell. My apologies.
We're learning together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it just a single d10 then?
Yes, my apologies. It's a single d10. Let me re-roll.
That's all good. It's almost as if this is a new version of a game and we're all figuring it out together.
But we should know it now.
Everything within 30 feet gets 7 points of positive energy.
Which
the undead get a fort save.
And they all failed. Actually, one of them fumbled. So 7, I have a weakness to it. So they all take... So we've seen this happen in Heralds of Dawn. It seems to be a running thing, as Charles and Miriam both get 7 hit points back. My friend, if you would like to flavor 4 kills. It never fails. Better call Saul.
Don't mess with the white man.
The sad thing is, as part of her verbal components, it includes "Here Comes the Sun."
Doo-doo-doo.
And she doesn't recognize it because it's a language in the old tongue, and she has only learned a few different phrases from it.
Yeah, and considering your 4 kills, I'd say you just did the Rammstein version.
And 3, or how many zombies got hit with that?
4.
Ah, yes. 4 incredibly bright shafts of light seem to pierce what little clouds there are and streak down to the zombies. As it hits the zombies, they burst into flames. Golden flames.
Yay!
And I am going to I'm gonna keep a running tab on it for this campaign for funsies. So far, Q-Talk is leading the kill count at 4. Bollocks has 1. And we'll do a scroll. Yeah. Jason, what was your character's name? I can't find it. I forgot. I'm so sorry.
Or Om.
Gotcha. So 1 for 1 for 4 for Q-Tuck, 1 for Bollocks as the zombies burn away. And combat is over.
Yay.
Waste of ingredients.
Ow.
Lady fire.
All right, how much did that heal?
7.
What's his name? 7. I would walk over and hand a infused elixir of life to Charles here.
Thank you. And I'll just take it and chug it. That's 1d6, right?
I believe so. I'm checking it right now. Elixir of life, it's a d6 hit points gained, and then a +1 against and diseases for the next 10 minutes.
Alright, well that brings me up to 12, so I'm better off.
And I'll hand you a second one. Yeah, you still don't look that good.
It's more my pride than anything else. I guess.
And I still have 2 more bonus uses of heal for the day, and I'm willing to use them to put everyone back up.
I'm fully healed now.
Is anyone else still damaged?
Yeah, I'm 14 of 20.
Well, these are going to go bad anyway, so here. I'd offer the other 2 elixirs. Besides, this has a bonus against disease.
Well, thank you, darling. I appreciate it.
Well, that'll teach me to try and play the hero. Oh well. Live and learn another day. Thanks again.
You did say we are all going to this town to do the hero thing, correct?
I mean, I only assumed. I did not directly state that.
And could you guys make one more perception check for me?
Okay.
Should I make 2 since I have...
Oh, that's better.
Since I have Leo?
Yeah. The familiars would get a perception check as well, yes.
Alright, well, I'm going to roll a separate die because I guess this is some RPG gods giving me pity because I rolled a natural 20.
Okay.
23 and 24.
21.
I got a,
Of course.
I got a 24.
Modified
Only
22.
16.
Okay, does Leo have the ability to speak today?
No, but I can still sense what he sees and whatnot.
Okay, so Leo comes flying down out of the trees and he begins, like, pulling on the hem of your robes to get you, like, off the road. And it's around this time all of you guys hear the sounds of a horse moving pretty quickly. The sounds of a cart bouncing off the less than well put together road. A pony-drawn wagon makes its way past you guys. The halfling who's sitting in the driver's seat is slumped over dead. Eventually the wagon comes to a stop. It gets off the road a little bit, not super far from where you guys are. The pony stamps its feet and throws its head and rolls its eyes. But nevertheless, the cart is very, for what it, or I shouldn't call it a cart. The wagon is very, get what you paid for. There's nothing fancy or frilly about it, but it's really nice. The pony continues just stamping and throwing.
I have a question I got to get answered first. Are we playing that horses really do not like goblins?
We are playing that goblins traditionally have a hatred of horses, but horses themselves don't have any goblin. Oh.
Okay.
Because their experience.
Yeah, that.
Okay. Because there's some language in the book that makes me, a little hesitant.
Yeah. The thing is, we got a lot of raids by goblins in the area that tend to go attack horses on farms. So some of the horses learn to hate goblins, but it's not necessarily from not. Just depends.
Woohoo!
Anyway, I'm going to go check out this.
That would be on
halfling.
23 on the nature check to handle animal to get the horse calmed down.
Okay, let me go look at my will DC really quickly. 23, my will DC is that, so that is a... Do you have benefit for that? You do not, but it is a... Well, hold on. It is a critical success, despite the stereotypes of goblins versus horses. You move up and just kind of reach up and pat it and whoa, and it stomps less and stops frothing at the mouth and carrying on. I hear Bollocks wants to look at the body.
Yeah.
Alrighty, give me a perception check. Perception check is the one we'll call for.
Okay, I got a 19.
Okay, so the halfling is very, very dead. There's a sizable portion of his neck missing. From, looking around, he doesn't, it seems like he was bleeding when he got on the wagon. There's a trail of blood, off to the left and down the side from where he's sitting. And, then eventually going down the front of him as he's slumped over. He himself isn't carrying anything other than his clothing. The wagon is also empty. Hard to say what he was doing out here this late at night. He might have been one of the would-be adventurers like yourselves, but it stands to reason that a similar encounter with zombies befell him, and then he bled out on the wagon trying to escape.
Something bit this little shank's neck. Clearly vampires.
I think probably those things that attacked us just got at his neck.
Well, that's your opinion.
Fair. That is fair, little one.
What are you driving? I go look inside the carriage.
The wagon itself is just kind of a simple, covered affair. Just a flat bottom and then a bit of canvas over top to protect it from the elements. There's nothing in there, but the 6 of you, considering some of you are a little on the less than tall side, assuming someone was driving, all of you could fit in the wagon.
About how far from town?
Would be willing to drive.
You guys, you're not super far right now. You could get there. You'd show up at the middle of the night if you were to take off now, which may or may not be safer. But you certainly, the wagon would expedite it. You could get there in perhaps an hour at most.
Yes, I would suggest it.
Before we do any of that, we should give this halfling, if not a proper burial, at least off the road somewhere where people aren't seeing it.
Should we find his family?
There are dead things walking, and more are probably coming. We can bury him when we get to town, where there's a church and blessed ground.
I was about to suggest the same thing also on the nature of, if we take him to town, it may be gruesome, but I imagine it'd be easier for them to identify the body, so that way they could tell his family than us.
Alright.
But at the very least, we should probably wrap it up in some cloth or something, I say, looking
yes,
around.
I would agree to that.
And some rope, so it doesn't be eyes as a vampire. That can happen.
If you think it's a vampire, just put a stake through its heart. That's how that works, right?
Good idea.
While they're discussing things, I'm taking the tarp down from the top of the top of the cart and starting to wrap the body. I'm not having any of this conversation.
Okay, fair enough. There's more than enough canvas to wrap a halfling's body.
Right. When it's wrapped, I'll offer to hold the halfling in my lap as we ride off.
Good. Well, anyway, someone drive. The goblins concede. Let's go.
I will drive.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'll stay in the way back here.
All right.
So, in a mechanical sense,
I would hold a produce flame ball above my head for a light.
Since I imagine no one is going to be speccing into animal companion-based things, we'll just pull it from the bestiary. In mechanical sense, the party has gained possession of a riding pony, as well as, I want to say the playtest rulebook had more stats for wagons and things, as well as the wagon it is pulling. And you guys approach the dawning of new destinies, shall we call it. There are people from out of time, there are people from different continents, there are people who were once looked down upon and are now standing shoulder to shoulder. And we will see what happens to them in Breach Hill next time. That next time will probably happen in a few days due to the nature of how recording works. I hope everybody has a good feel for how the characters work. I almost killed Ross, and that was a thing that happened. But I told you guys you didn't need to worry about getting your cart. because I thought of that. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos, guys, and we will see you next time. Say bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.